New Year's Day, 1958. Revenant is a brand new Sparkman-Stevens 43-foot-long racing yacht owned by champion ocean racer Harvey Conover.
My grandfather was a big man with a very big life. Harvey Conover Sr. was one of the most trophied yachtsmen in the world. He had sailed in many ocean races and won many of them. Revenant is Conover backwards. I think my grandfather loved his name.
Conover's latest boat is a custom design he's been sailing up the Florida coast with his wife, Dorothy, their son and former Coast Guard officer, Larry, daughter-in-law, Lori, and family friend, Bill Flugelman.
I don't think you could have picked a more experienced and better crew than the people that were aboard the Revenant that day.
The 110-mile trip from the Florida Keys to Miami should be an easy 2-day sail. But on January 2nd, out of nowhere, a storm catches the entire region by surprise.
This is the kind of weather that you see in the Bermuda Triangle. It was just unexpected. Nobody predicted it.
70-mile-an-hour winds, 30-foot swells. I mean, you're going to be bouncing around out there, to say the least. I mean, it's a nightmare.
The Coast Guard tows dozens of vessels back to port. But there's no sign of Revenant.
So you have a highly experienced skipper who has won many trophies. You have a member of the Coast Guard on board, and yet they disappear without a trace.
To the yachting world, my grandfather was a giant, and Harvey Conover would not fail ever.
They're probing an unidentified wreck nicknamed Joe's Wreck, which lies in the area they believe Revenant sank.
Rowing! This is the site. We did the drop camera. Now we have a chance to actually dive on Joe's Wreck and find out what it is.
Looked like there was a lot of debris on the bottom.
We could see kind of a mast sticking up.
We don't know till we get in the water, but this looks like a potential candidate for the Revenant.
Hey, Frank, walk through the back.
Dive, dive, dive.
The divers approach the ocean floor, 300 feet down. At this depth, the team have just 15 minutes to find anything that could tie this wreck to Revenant.
I dropped in. I was about 50 foot north of the wreck. Saw some fish come out. Saw the dark spot there, then it came right on the stern of the wreck.
We had a lot of wood that was buried under the sand. There was still some intact wood. We were looking for any kind of artifact that would be able to identify the wreck.
Sometimes we can find something with a date on it or a stamp on it, or in best cases, we'll have something that has the name of the wreck on it.
They measured the wreck, search for artifacts. and take a closer look at the mast-like object they discovered with their drop cam. All too soon, time's up. Mike and Jimmy head to the surface to share their findings with the land team.
So what do you got?
Is it the legendary racing yacht Revenant?
It's a wooden wreck, low-lying, kind of what you expect for a wreck that's been down 60-plus years.
As you can see, lots of debris.
Yeah.
As we started sifting through things, we found what we would expect on a sailboat.
Wow.
We definitely had a wooden vessel here, a single screw engine. We found kitchenwares and spare parts, it looked like. And then as we came around the stern, remember we saw that, that what we thought may have been a mast?
Yeah, yeah.
It was camouflaged with incrustation, so it looked dark like wood or metal. But once you wipe it away, you could see it was clearly white PVC pipe.
PVC, how long have they been using PVC for?
Probably dates to the early 60s or so. Not only that, we started seeing pieces of flat plexiglass, probably for the cabin wheelhouse. This was not a well-appointed vessel, it was more of a workboat. We're finding more utilitarian fittings. We saw tires that are typically used as fenders on fishing boats.
So in other words, not the kind of stuff that you would find on a finely crafted vessel like Revenant.
Definitely. It's one of those wrecks that it's good from far, but far from good.
PVC pipe, plexiglass, thick tires for fenders, and at 74 feet, too long.
This is probably a fishing vessel. We weren't able to give a positive identification, but obviously it wasn't what we were looking for. It wasn't the Revenant. It's process elimination. So we know where the wreck isn't. Now we're just gonna find where the wreck is.
Following the tragedy, Sarah and Eileen Conover were adopted by their aunt. Nobody spoke to them about the loss of their parents and grandparents on Revenant.
Back then, you children can't understand these things, and you don't tell them those things. But my body knew at 18 months old what had happened, that everything in my world vanished. If the boat is found, there'll be some questions that are answered. But I think for me, if there's a silver lining to any of this, it's that I have something to say about how grief, tragedy doesn't go away. You actually have to face it in one way or another. The more I found out about my own story, the more I thought this story can be important for other people.
It is such a tragic story because, as Sarah told us, I mean, she was orphaned by the Bermuda Triangle.
I would love to continue searching for it. We have tomorrow, the next day, and the next day. Don't get discouraged. Tomorrow's another day.
For the team, and more importantly, the loved ones left behind by the Revenant tragedy, the search has narrowed and will continue one wreck at a time.